Hello everyone. Today in my lecture I will talk about psychological perspective on decision making. This lecture is intended as an aid to students in the study of the psychological processes of decision making, offering hints and suggestions which may prove useful. Due to the current pandemic crisis, we are in one of those prominent periods that rarely occur when people don't understand the world anymore, and the past is not sufficient to explain the future. As we are all wondering and assuming how the new normal may look like, insights on mental progression in decision making is even more significant. Human beings make numerous choices and display complex behaviors in the courses of their everyday lives. Most of us are exposed to more information each day than we can possibly pay attention to. Moreover, no mechanism exists to organize, prioritize, or interpret that information. So it is often unclear what is crucial and what can be ignored. Can psychology help us to become better decision makers? This session will circle around following important points of consideration with reference to the topic. You may see highlighted keywords which we will try to decode in this session. So prior to understanding the concept of decision making, it is important to briefly understand the central theme of any human experience, commonly known as thinking. Very often it is also known as the essence of being. We are all familiar with the phrase, I think, therefore I am. As J. Krishnamurti says, thinking usually is a reaction. For example, if I ask you a question, you will respond to it. Your response will be according to your memory, to your preconceptions, to your nurturing, to the environment, to the background of your training. You communicate accordingly and you think accordingly. Within the broader field of cognition, thinking is considered to be a fundamental mental process and establishes the ground for the choices we make. Now stop for a minute and consider, why do you select a particular profile photo? Is it a simple choice or a self-defining act? Certainly, while analyzing this, we come across the wide range of possibility. So decision making is a high-level cognitive process based on other cognitive processes like perception, attention, and memory. Moreover, there are many other factors, some of which are unnoticeable to us, that influence how we make decisions. Cognitive theories suggest rational decision making, but it is not always easy to set our emotions aside. Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel Prize winning psychologist, states that there are two distinct types of decision making. Decision making based on reasoning is explicit and it involves analytical thought, that is, weighing up the pros and cons of decision in a selective and efficient way, whereas decision making based on emotion, that is implicit. Although we consider decision making a very rational process, yet the role of emotions in decision making cannot be negated. Emotions manages our behavior in a fast and effective way. Most decisions lack enough importance for us to spend a lot of time on. That's where emotions come in. It is important to understand that any decision is mediated by our emotion to at least some degree. Usually, real life situations require a series of decisions to be made, with each decision depending on the previous feedback from a potentially changing environment. On daily basis, starting from choosing our outfit to decisions which involve monetary stakes like buying a property, selecting a car, or lifetime decisions like choosing a life partner, we come across people saying they have chosen something because they loved or liked it very much. So generally, decisions underlie many of the important outcomes of cognition. Constructs like similarity, concepts, and induction reflect internal state and behavior. With decision making, these internal states interact with external outcomes. We all know that there are always consequences to making a decision, whether good or bad. This definition sums up the act of decision making. You can pay specific attention to the highlights. Now let us do a class activity to comprehend it better. Write down all the thoughts and ideas that occur to you while considering a decision. You may note down your reflection, and we may analyze the decision making process based on suggestions given by Minda. According to John Paul Minda, decisions that are made with some degree of explicit awareness often involve several steps. This has been explained very well in his book. Following are the extracts from his book titled Psychology of Thinking, Reasoning, Decision Making and Problem Solving. Decisions that are made with some degree of explicit awareness often involve several steps. The first step can be called as identification phase, in which the person identifies the need to make a decision. At some prior point, there is no need to make a decision, but at this identification phase, the need for decision is realized. More importantly, the decision is framed. Framing a decision involves stating the decision in terms of known cost and benefit or perceived gains and losses. The way in which a decision is framed can drastically alter the way the decision is made. For example, if you are deciding to enroll in a course of psychology, it may change the decision if you frame it as a required paper, like when it is a core paper, versus framing it as an option when you have an option to declare it as a major or minor, that is your specialization. One alternative is framed as something that you have to do, the other is framed as something that you want to do. A second stage is the generation stage, and in this stage the decision makers begin to generate alternatives. Cognitive factors such as working memory limitations can have an effect on reducing the number of alternatives that can be generated. Environmental factors such as amount of time availability can also impact the number of alternatives that can be generated. Time pressure reduces the number of alternatives. These alternatives can be evaluated in the judgment phase. Judgments are made about probabilities, costs, benefits, and the values of alternative. Apart from this, social influence on decision making, like numerous other factors or biases, can affect the choices we make without even realizing their effect on us. Social influences can lead us towards a herd mentality, making the same choice as our peers in order to fit into group. Solomon Asch identifies this most accurately in a series of well-known conformity experiments. Now let us quickly also try to understand another aspect related to decision making when underlying it with ethical consideration. In addition to its benefit in understanding oneself, being aware of your own level of values and maturity also has important practical implication for ethical decision making. Hosmer in 2003 mentioned in his research that most ethical trade-offs are conflicts between desirable ends, that is economic versus social performance. It is a complex process used to generate a personal set of universal, comprehensive and consistent principles that can guide decision making. According to Kohlberg's research, most adults have neither constructed nor do they follow a well-developed set of principles in making decisions. One reason is that they have no model or example of what such principle might be. How will you use your knowledge in making this choice? Let us do this class activity to ponder. Grade them in order of your personal priority. We will discuss the same during our live lecture next week. So coming to the conclusion, let's quickly recap. We make many decisions every day. These decisions can be insignificant or life-changing. They can be made rapidly or with extensive deliberation. They can be right, wrong, or neither. As we have learned from numerous psychological studies, our choices may be free, but they are not free from influences. In the present world, flooded in choices, people become constant deciders, and the stake of our decisions and the consequences of errors are growing. So, to avoid this error chain, introspecting our personal decision making style can definitely help us in making healthier decisions. This lecture is just one of the milestones towards our understanding about decision making. I've also added some interesting reading. The link is given below, which will help you understand more about the same. In my next lecture on decision making, I will give you a pertinent situation to apply your learning of decision making. Thank you. You may post your questions through email or on Google Classroom.